Hey you, it's Angelina, and you are on video number 10 of my video series From Cocaine to Carrots. And as you probably already know, these videos are about my transformational journey from cocaine to carrots. So the last video I shared with you about one of the number one things that started to change my outlook and change my bad habits, which was my journal keeping class. I had to write a paper on myself from third person. So as if I found this person's journal, what was my life about? What did it stand for? It was one of the hardest papers that I'd ever written, and I turned it into my teacher. I had all of the stories that I wasn't telling anyone at the time, everything that had happened within that 3-month period, and my teacher advised me that she had set up an appointment with the drug addiction counselor on campus. So I hesitantly went, and I thought to myself, I don't really have a drug addiction. I kind of like it, I party with it, but I don't need it. So I went into the office and sat down, and the counselor said, "Well, Angie, tell me a little bit about your using." And so I told them about my going out on the weekends and sometimes during the week, and it was just a fun thing that made me feel fun, and it was something my friends did. And I said, "But I am no longer going to do it." And he says, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Well, after writing my paper, I have a new level of awareness, and I don't want to do it anymore. I really, really want to get out of this place." He said, "Oh, that's great. I'm so proud of you. But I have to tell you, it's not that easy. I recommend that you go to a 12-step class." And I said, "Nope, I don't need that. I'm not going to go. I'm just not going to do it anymore." Well, the cool thing is I didn't do it anymore. And the reason I'm on this kind of video screen is because I want to share with you a little excerpt of 4 papers that I wrote in this journal keeping class, because I stayed in the class for 4 years. So all through my college years, I was in this class. It was my saving grace. And I want to share with you a little bit about what it was like for me to change over the course of 2 years. And I want you to listen for yourself again, because these are not just about me, they're about you. And I want you to listen for yourself if there's any place in your life where you're wrestling with a bad habit, something that's, self-sabotaging, way that you are, and listen to some of the things that I'm going to share with you and see if they fit you. So I couldn't find my first paper, the first paper that I had turned in to share a little bit about what it was like before, but 3 months later, which was December of 2001, I found a paper. And so here's one of the things that I wrote in the journal keeping paper. This is our final exam again, and remember, I'm coming from the third person, so I'm writing about this person's journal that I found. So it says, "A reoccurring drug and alcohol problem was revealed in the last journal proved to be an eye-opener for the writer. After writing the last journal summary, I openly admitted to a large pattern of addiction in my life. And I made a point to find the underlying reasons behind my addiction. As of today, I know it sabotages my spirit. In my recent decision to attend a 12-step meeting, I have come to the conclusion that the only way to rid myself of this awful addiction is to find the source. It has been over 1 month, and I have a higher spiritual connection due to the control of my addiction. I also feel a stronger spiritual connection because it is helping me through my struggle." So I want you to notice that one of the things that I'd said, and one of the things I started to notice, was I needed to find the source. So most people change things on the surface. They change their action or their behavior, but they don't look to see why are they doing that behavior. Why is it really keep happening that way? So that was the first step that I did. So that was in December. So let's move on to March of 2002. So I'm 22 years old. And here I write, the mood of the journal has changed dramatically. The last journals ranged from happy to sad, whereas this one stays in a more positive keel. She generally has kept a technique of using her signature to end each entry, but now frequently closes with, "My love is endless, let it be heard." In the previous journals, she ended in prayer as a way to ask for help with her drug addiction. She now seems to be using her new entry, closing, as a way to end on a positive note to remind herself of her strength. Within this journal, the underlying theme seems to be tightly woven around her decision to receive help for her drug addiction. The writer is now facing a loss of control over her thoughts that were once controlled by drugs. This is very important if you're battling an eating disorder, a food addiction, a drug addiction, alcohol addiction. We really have to realize that the second stage of looking and overcoming an addiction is to having to face those feelings, right? So now my feelings arise and linger as long as they like. I am now struggling to find a new method of coping. Having the drugs to control me seemed to mask many concerns of the writer's life. The absence of drugs is causing her to question many aspects of her life, including her community, her new identity, her physical appearance, and a feeling of isolation. In creating a new drug-free self, she is now struggling with her decision to lead that drug-free life. As she questions her decisions and tries to interpret her new feelings, she finds herself comparing her old life to the present one. Memories of the bar are spinning in my gut. The fun, yet not so fun nights of music enhanced by white powdery lines are twisting me in circles. The power of powder, it chases me down asking why I stopped. Am I happy? Is this life the lifestyle I wish to pursue? Quiet and tame with no frills? I just remember the girl that was, beautiful, fashionable, partying and feeling nothing. I feel inadequate, overly mature, fashionable, frumpy, confused. I wonder which life was really for me. When she questions her decisions, it is based on the previous perception of herself. This also affects the way she is recently viewing her physical appearance. In regards to her new self, she questions her outer appearance. She thinks more of how she ought to look. While looking at our new family picture, I couldn't help but think, I used to look better than that. I feel like there's an image I have to keep up. My image used to be top priority. I couldn't leave the house without makeup on, hair done, and dressed to the nines. I have completely rebelled against that lifestyle. I promised myself I will make an effort to leave the house feeling beautiful in my own way. And yesterday, I wrote a love letter to myself. I needed a kind reminder. It read, "Your smile lights up the room. You may not think you're beautiful, but you are as perfect as a handcrafted porcelain doll." Her feelings of unattractiveness seem to be stemming from the overwhelming realization of her new self. This may be also linked to issues of acceptance of her new identity. So you can see in this 3-month period, she's struggling with a new identity, how to be this new person, if I really want to be this new person. But then there's a pivotal shift 3 months later. So this is March of 2002. Within the last journal, she mentioned a struggle with the decision to become drug-free. She faced a loss of control when the drugs became absent. The overall loss of control caused her to compare her old life to her present one. Recently, she has become more pleased with her new self. I felt like my old self, but with new, improved flair, she says. I felt older and more grounded in the world as I talked with her. It was good to be within my element. I felt like my old self, but like my new self. I have different priorities and a new way of caring for myself. According to physical appearance, she has begun to realize that it is not the drugs that make her beautiful. What to wear? What do they like? What will they think of my outfit? I suddenly stopped and looked in the mirror at my half-naked body. I am beautiful, strong, and intelligent. As I dressed, I felt more confident than ever. When I decided to let go of my physical appearance, I gained a new way at looking at myself and learned that I could not control anything at all, not even what I learned from life itself. When I question my day or myself, sometimes all I need is a gentle reminder of who I am and what separates me. The idea of appearance previously played a larger role in the writer's life. It seemed that the writer is able to be more compassionate to herself due to greater acceptance of her whole self. Really powerful. And as I look through these different stages and reading them, I started to see how clients move through these same stages when they're changing their habits around food. So we'll be moving forward and going into the next stages because there are a lot of other powerful tools that I also started using. And there are a couple other funny stories as we move forward and we start sharing with you a little bit about how I started going to the carrots part, right? So we're getting through the cocaine now, but we haven't quite hit the healthy carrot part. So that's all for tonight. Thank you so much for listening and letting me share this with you. I appreciate it greatly. This is Angelina DeWeese signing off. I will see you in the next video.